Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the heat wave that is gripping the British Isles at the moment. Yesterday we saw the first day where temperatures did exceed heatwave thresholds in certain regions, especially across the south, the southeast, through East Anglia and parts of the Midlands, and even we saw a couple weather stations in Scotland exceed heatwave thresholds. 25 degrees across Scotland, 28 degrees in the south of England. Now, of course, for a heatwave, an official heatwave, we need temperatures to be at those heatwave thresholds or above for 3 days consecutively, and it's extremely likely we do see that over the next 5 to 7 days. It's looking extremely warm through Monday to Wednesday, pretty hot indeed, with temperatures getting in the low to potentially mid 30s. Most likely those highs will be around 31 to 33 degrees, a few spots maybe 34, 35, incredibly hot. Then our attention turns to this time next weekend. So in around 7, 8, 9 days time, there's potential for an extreme surge in temperatures, and the GFS Operational Run today is forecasting 43 degrees in East Anglia. And I know a few days ago I made a video titled "The Most Extreme GFS Run I've Ever Seen in Terms of Heat," and it's been exceeded by the run from this morning by a degree or two. Now, I have seen some people say the GFS is being a bit biased, a bit heat biased here. Even if it is being biased by a couple degrees, we bring those temperatures down by 3 or 4, we're still touching on, if not breaking, the all-time temperature record. So it's looking extremely hot in around 7, 8, 9 days time. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm going to say in this video what I think the most likely scenario is over the next 10 days or so, while most of the UK is going to be very warm, if not hot, dangerously hot at times. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link is in the description. So if we do start on the live radar, again, not much is going on. We've got a bit of precipitation across the far north of Scotland, where weather fronts are trying to push in with lower pressure. They are going to make inroads later this working week, perhaps Thursday, Friday. They're going to be slightly cooler, especially further northwards. For the far south, it will be cooler, perhaps dipping the temperatures slightly below heatwave thresholds for many, back maybe towards 25, 26 degrees before we see a surge again, as I said, for next weekend. So a couple days perhaps cooler Thursday and Friday, but still very warm, very hot. But that's just with these weather fronts sinking south, there's a bit more cloud, slightly cooler air before the hot air returns. But you can see it is very dry and is looking really nice out there, with most people with a lot of blue skies and sunshine. Now it's about 2:30 as I'm recording this, of course 3, so we are starting to reach peak temperatures of the day. Now remember, today is a slightly cooler day, so we may not reach heatwave thresholds in the same areas as we did yesterday. I do suspect a couple areas will still reach heatwave thresholds, so it's touch and go whether we do see an official heatwave announced in the next day or so, but it's pretty much guaranteed through Monday to Wednesday we do exceed it in quite a few regions. So a heatwave is coming, official heatwave is definitely coming. Just whether today continues the streak, that 3-day streak we need, is uncertain, just because we have slightly cooler upper air temperatures today, slightly cooler air mass with those winds coming in around the higher pressure. You can see though it is still very warm, if not hot, widely oranges and some reds showing up, and that is temperatures getting toward the mid to high 20s. Forecasted high today in around that 27, 28 degree range. Yesterday it was about 29 degrees, so a degree or two down. And of course, towards coastal areas, especially further northwards and westwards, slightly cooler, but it's still pleasant, still low to mid 20s, and a lot of sunshine around. You can see that towards Liverpool, North Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, slightly cooler, just with a bit of a northwesterly breeze, bring those temperatures slightly down. But some would argue they would prefer those sort of low 20s with beautiful sunshine than the mid to high 20s further eastwards and southwards. But these temperatures are just going to be on the rise. These darker reds and pinks you see further southwards, which is getting into the low to mid 30s, perhaps getting towards the high 30s. Those conditions are coming our way over the next few days, and we could, as I said, be getting towards that high 30s, maybe 40 degree range in around 7, 8 days time. Now, if we do start by having a look at the UK Met Office run, this is the run from yesterday afternoon. The earlier run for this morning is a little bit weird, has downgraded temperatures a little bit, so I don't know what's going on with that. I'll show you the 3 o'clock run, and I'll show you the midnight, the 3 o'clock run from yesterday evening and the 3 o'clock run from this morning for the temperatures, so we can just see how they are comparing, because I didn't want to just show the 3 o'clock run for this morning, because I do suspect it is on the cooler end, and I don't really want to underdo the temperatures at this stage. I don't want people thinking it's not going to be as hot as it does look likely to be. So we do start on the precipitation. You can see there's no real point looking at this too much. We've just whizzed through it. Bit of showers across northern Scotland with weather fronts, but nothing too unusual. Maybe some heavier rain across the Northern Isles. And as we head through, really nice. Bit of cloud maybe in a few spots. And you can see through Tuesday into Wednesday, a bit of a weather front arriving across the north and west. And that's that slightly cooler air running in from the north, and you can see it does bring a little bit of precipitation, some thicker cloud, perhaps through Wednesday evening, and that means for Thursday and Friday it will be slightly cooler, but nothing too substantial. And you can see that on the upper air temperatures, 15-16 degrees at 850 HPA in the far south, around 4-5 degrees further northwards. But those cooler temperatures are not going to extend further southwards. They are going to push through to maybe the London area, sort of the M4 line, before getting shoved away again around Friday, Saturday time. Now, if you have a look at the 2-metre temperatures from this run, you can see today's temperatures are forecasted to be around 26, 27, maybe 28 degrees. So slightly cooler than yesterday, but still around that mid-20s point. So still very warm and could touch heatwave threshold in some regions. And if we do run to Sunday, you can see those temperatures slightly higher, perhaps 27, 28, maybe 29, or maybe touching on 30 degrees. So a couple of degrees higher in most areas. And by Monday, we start to see those heatwave thresholds widely surpassed, around 30 to 32 degrees for the high, maybe 33 degrees locally. And for Tuesday, even hotter, 33, 34, most likely seeing 35 degrees locally. And for Wednesday, still incredibly hot, 32, 33 in the far southeast. And by Thursday, it will be more widely, sort of mid-20s. Now, if we do have a look at the latest run, the 3 o'clock run at those temperatures, you'll be able to see they're a little bit downgraded by a couple of degrees. So I think at the moment, it will be somewhere in the middle. And you can see today, those temperatures are forecasted to be, again, similar 26, 27, but it's more Monday to Wednesday that it's changed a little bit. Sunday, still very warm, 27, 28 degrees, most likely peaking 29 or 30. And then again, by Monday, those temperatures not quite as high, 30, 31, but not seeing any 32s, 33s. By Tuesday, interestingly, only 30, 31, no 33, 34, so a couple of degrees lower. So at the moment, that's why I said at the start of the video, I think the highest temperature this upcoming week will be around that 32 to 34 degree range, maybe 35 degrees in a few spots. And it's just because the heat is building. And by Wednesday, we do see that weather front sweep through a little bit faster, so 30 degrees to the far southeast, but widely 24 to 26 degrees elsewhere. And by Thursday, it'll probably be around 24, 25 degrees quite widely. So a little bit weird there from the UK Met Office run. Quite a big fluctuation by 3 or 4 degrees, and only maybe only at 3 or 4 days out. So, and I do just suspect that's something to do with cloud amounts, stuff like that, that will change with each run. But as I said, I think those temperatures will be around the 32 to 34 degree range for the peak from Monday to Wednesday. Somewhere in the country will be 32 to 34 degrees on those days. And again, the widespread temperatures probably around that 30 to 32 degree range. So very warm, very hot, heatwave thresholds exceeded, and yeah, not oppressively hot, not getting towards the all-time temperature record by any means, but still very warm and potentially still dangerous. But the big temperatures that we have been looking at that could be very, very life-threatening, could be very, very impactful, potentially coming in 7, 8, 9 days' time. Now, the temperatures we're seeing this week would, of course, be headlines most of the time. We'd be very much looking at these, but it's the fact that we could be seeing 2 waves of heat, and the second wave coming in around 7, 8 days' time after a little hiatus on Thursday, Friday, that could be the real disruptive heat. It could be very dangerous. Now, at the moment, it does look like it's only going to last a couple days. We could see a very quick peak 2-3 days of intense heat before getting back down to into the 20s again. So if we do run through the GFS, which is, as I said at the start of the video, extreme, one of the most extreme runs I've ever seen. Ridiculous upper air temperatures, ridiculous surface conditions, forecasting 50 degrees across parts of France. This would shatter temperature records widely across Western and Northwestern Europe. So you can see the high pressure building at the moment. That's giving us our warmth and our heat this coming week, mid to low 30s quite widely. And you see around Thursday, Friday time, you see those isobars just tight a little bit in the north and the west, and it's just bringing a slightly cooler air mass round the top of the higher pressure. You can see 10 degree isotherms just off the south coast. That would still give temperatures in the mid-20s quite widely in England and Wales, but just not the high 20s, low 30s that we're going to be seeing before that. But the incredibly hot air mass is still there to our south. Now, high pressure builds back in Friday, Saturday time, and as it does, we see a little cut-off low to our south, and it starts to draw the wind in from a southerly. So Friday the 15th, we'll probably see those temperatures rise again. So Thursday slightly cooler, Friday still cooler than Monday to Wednesday, but perhaps touching on that 30 degree range again. But by Saturday, we could be getting into the mid-30s, and by Sunday, where we see potentially the 25 degree isotherm in, we would be hitting the high 30s, if not low 40s. Now, I must stress, this run is an outlier. That is on the extreme end of the ensembles, but the majority of the ensembles are getting 15 degrees to 20 degrees at 850 HPA, which is temperatures enough at the upper air, at least, to give temperatures in the mid-30s. So mid-30s is looking the most likely temperature, if not slightly higher. So yes, this GFS run perhaps is overdoing it. It's perhaps got a slight heat bias. Perhaps is bringing those temperatures higher than it will be realistically. But it's not overhyping it that much. A few degrees, yes. And that would give temperatures in the mid to high 30s, still threatening our all-time temperature records. So yeah, this perhaps is overhyping it. It is on the extreme end, but it is still showing us that the potential is there for extreme temperatures next week. And if we do have a look at the United Kingdom, look, we put it to the 3-hour view. You can see those air masses at 3 p.m. because of course it is coinciding. We also have to remember that we have to get the upper air temperatures coinciding with the peak daytime. So if we saw the peak upper air temperatures around the midday to 6 p.m. point, we would see the higher temperatures. But if it fell during the night, we wouldn't see these low 40s. So we also have to take that into account. Yes, the air mass does matter, but it has to be at its hottest during the middle of the day to see these peak temperatures. And you can see 25 degrees quite widely across England, perhaps 26, maybe the 27 degree isotherm touching on the UK. So record upper air temperatures. And if we do put that onto the 2 metre temperatures, 43 degrees across East Anglia and widely high 30s, low 40s. So for huge areas of England and Wales, we would be smashing all-time temperature records of that is touching on 39 degrees if we round it up. It's about 38.7 degrees, I think the all-time temperature record is, or 38.9. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's 38 point something. So if we reach 39 degrees here, we would break the all-time temperature record, and you can see that widely across England. Ridiculous. And across parts of France, it is even hotter. Again, if we just have a look at France, you can see touching on the high 40s, and a few locally could get towards that 50 degree range. Absolutely ridiculous conditions. Now, the one thing about this GFS run that's very interesting is beyond that, it goes really quite cool. Now, if we do run back to it, you see those southerly winds moving in, and then we go to a westerly flow, a northerly flow, in fact, and it goes very thundery and cool for the last 10 days of July. So incredibly hot. Temperatures into the low 40s before it does cool down quite significantly. So ridiculous conditions from this GFS run. It just shows you what we could be seeing next weekend. But I must stress, I think the most likely temperature from having a look at the ensembles, the other operational runs, I think the most likely conditions is seeing the 20 degree isotherm move in, which would give temperatures in the mid to high 30s. So I think it is possible we do get towards our all-time temperature record. But do I think we'll break 40 degrees at this stage? No. I think it's possible, but I'm not seeing the support for it at this stage. If in the next day or two we see a lot more runs get above that 20-degree range at 850 HPA, then I'll say I think it is possible, if not quite likely. But at this stage, I think the most likely conditions to see those highs around 35 to 38 degrees. I think that's the most likely high temperature next weekend. So hotter than this coming week, hotter by a good few degrees, but at this stage, I don't think it's likely we will break 40 degrees. But I can't rule it out. And of course, I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to say we're going to break 40 degrees when we're just seeing a few runs. Maybe 10 to 20% of ensemble members are getting towards that 40 degree point, high 30, so 38, 39, 40 degrees. And then, of course, this GFS run going even higher. Now, if we do have a look at the GEM run, we'll be able to see that actually there is still uncertainty because this GEM run is completely the opposite. It doesn't bring that hot air in at all. It just keeps it just to our south. Now, of course, we've got the very warm conditions this week. Those are nailed on. We see the slightly cooler conditions by Thursday, Friday. High pressure tries to build back in, and you can see there is the southerly flow. But if you have a look at the upper air temperatures, it stays just to our south. Still perhaps warm across the far south. Still getting towards the low 30s perhaps. We do have a look at the 2-meter temperatures and zoom into the United Kingdom. We would still see high 20s, low 30s perhaps in the far south. Again, this is at midday, so it would be 30, 31 degrees around 3, 4 p.m. But not the mid to high 30s that a lot of the other runs are going for. So yeah, GM still turns things hotter. But if we have a look at the upper air temperatures, that hot air gets swept away by cooler north to northwesterly winds back down towards the low to mid 20s. So remarkable there that the GEM run has similar hot air mass moving up, but doesn't quite push it into the UK. And you can see the temperature contrast by looking at the temperature deviation. You can see 10 to 12 degrees above average across parts of central and southern France, parts of Italy, towards the Alps, cooler than average across the UK. But I do think this GEM run is slightly anomalous. I think it is an anomaly, and I do think we most of the runs are getting that 15 to 20 degree isotherm in for more widespread areas, getting those temperatures into the mid to high 30s. But it just shows you the coolest run is getting temperatures into the low 30s next weekend. So it is getting hot next weekend. I must stress that there is no uncertainty with whether it's increasing in temperature. It's just how hot does it get. Now, if we do have a look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure building in at the moment, taking control. Low pressure coming in through Wednesday, Thursday into Friday. High pressure building back in, and we go back into that southerly wind towards the end of the run. If we do have a look at the 850 HPA temperatures, you see the 20 degree isotherm moves in. So I think this ECMWF run is sort of in the middle. This is what I think the most likely scenario is at this stage. That 20 degree isotherm coming in, not getting much hotter than that, but the 20 degree isotherm coming in for around the 17th, 18th, and I think it would give temperatures in the mid to high 30s. And beyond that, we do go cooler. So does look like in the longer term, beyond this hot plume, it does turn cooler. So it will turn very hot for a couple of days next weekend into early next week before turning cooler. Now, if you look at the 2-meter temperatures from this ECMWF run, just zoom in, you'll be able to see, I think, for next Saturday, those temperatures getting back towards the low 30s, perhaps around 32, 33 degrees. Now, of course, we can't look at the 3 p.m. temperatures, but you can see by next Sunday, 34, 35, most likely peaking 36, 37, and next Monday, back towards the low to mid-30s. And of course, this is low resolution. It's not going to pick up on the exact temperatures. So that's why I say 35 degrees on here. It probably equates to around 36, 37, 38 degrees in reality for the peak temperatures. So that's what I think the most likely scenario is this stage, mid to high 30s. But we can't rule out maybe high 30s, low 40s, and we can't rule out low 30s around that 30 degree mark like the GEM is. But regardless, I must emphasize it is going warm, if not extremely hot. Now, if we do finish the video by having a look at the ensembles, you can see this very well reflected. This is the chart we've been showing on the weather outlook. You can see it is warm today, most likely temperature between 26 and 30 degrees from the majority of the ensemble members, some going 21 to 25. Tomorrow, warming up even further, perhaps getting towards that 30 degree range, but majority still 26 to 30. And by Monday, you can see it's highly likely we're around that 30 degree point. Majority of the ensemble members still 26 to 30 at midday, but by 3 p.m., I'd say the majority would be above 30 degrees. And by Tuesday, it looks like guaranteed to be the hottest day this coming week. 81% of the ensemble members are showing 30 plus degrees at midday, And of course, ensemble members under the conditions by a degree or two because they're lower resolution, and this is midday, so it's not 3 p.m. yet. So that's why I think 33, 34, maybe 35 degrees is the tip-top temperature come Tuesday. Wednesday, bit more uncertainty because with that weather front moving in from the north, but still likely to be hot, if not very warm in the south. Thursday, slightly cooler before Friday, potentially ramping up again. Saturday, uncertain. You can see some cooler runs there. That'll be something like the GEM run or something along those lines. But it's that Saturday, Sunday, Monday point where we're seeing around 50% ensemble members getting above that 30 degree range at midday, most likely towards the low to mid 30s by 3 p.m. on that Sunday. And it's just something we do need to keep an eye on. It could be incredibly hot. Now, in the longer term, we're still seeing quite a few runs still showing big warmth, but there is a lot more uncertainty, a lot more runs going towards the oranges and yellowy colours, so indicating there is uncertainty and there is plenty of runs turning things cooler, but still plenty of runs keeping things very hot. So we'll just have to see what happens 10 days and beyond. Now, if we do finish by having a look at what the ensembles are showing on a line graph, you can see the first peak in heat this week. Those temperatures peaking at upper air temperatures around Tuesday, early Wednesday, and that's why 33, 34, maybe 35 degrees is possible. Thursday, Friday time, those temperatures fall back towards average, so not really cold, and because surface temperatures have warmed up, the ground is very warm, it's still possible to get mid-20s, maybe 26, 27 degrees. And then we see that massive peak once again next weekend, and you can see the average on the ensemble members have similar conditions to what we're seeing early this week. So it's looking highly likely we see temperatures return to around 33 to 35 degrees, and as I said, probably peaking around that 36 to 38 degree range. You can see plenty of ensemble members, the majority around 15 to 18 degrees at 850 HPA, and of course you see those anomalous ones going above that, and that's why I think the most likely scenario is around that 20 degree range, getting towards the mid to high 30s. Still some cooler runs, but I think they are starting to dwindle, and we're starting to see them sort of sit in that 15 to 20 degree range, which would give temperatures, as I said, in the mid to high 30s. Uncertainty does build beyond that, still some very hot runs, but others, including the operational run, going cooler as well. Now, if we look at the 2 meter temperatures, again, you have to remember these are slightly underdone, and these are showing the midday temperatures as well. There's most likely to be a slightly higher peak here, and you can see the peak coming this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time, in around that low 30s point, low to mid 30s, maybe 33, 34 degrees is possible. Slightly cooler towards Thursday, Friday, back towards 25, 26, 27 degrees for peak once again next weekend, most likely again towards the low to mid 30s, perhaps high 30s, and of course if we see something like that GFS Operational Run, perhaps touching 40 degrees. A couple other ensemble members are there, so it's possible, but I'd say uncertain before it does drop down. Now, if we finish by having a look at the ECMWF ensembles, looking at the midnight run, you can see a lot more support for this very hot conditions. That's why I said I do think that most likely upper air temperatures will be around that high teens, 20 degree range, which is mid to high 30s. Again, you can see the peak early this coming week, Tuesday, Wednesday time, dropping down for Thursday, Friday, for peaking once again around next Saturday, Sunday, Monday time. Incredibly hot, including the operational ECMWF run, which has plenty of support. Majority of the runs around that 15 to 20 degree range, as I said. And if we have a look at the 2 meter temperatures for that point as well, you can see very warm this week, low 30s, and then next weekend perhaps peaking around that low to mid 30s, maybe high 30s. So it's looking possible. We see some very hot conditions. Well, it's looking likely, we're going to be seeing very hot conditions over the next 10 days, perhaps some slight respite through Thursday and Friday, but it looks likely over the next sort of 5 days or so towards Wednesday, we do see temperatures reach 30 degrees most days, maybe apart from today. Most days we see temperatures reach 30, if not exceed 30 through Monday to Wednesday. So small respite on Thursday, Friday, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Looks likely again we see those temperatures skyrocket above 30 degrees, most likely towards that 34, 35, 36 degree range, and there still is the possibility we get towards our all-time temperature record, maybe 40 degrees. It is an option. I wouldn't say it's guaranteed. I wouldn't say it's likely, but it is still an option. And being 7 or 8 days out from an event and still potentially showing 40 degrees is truly, truly exceptional. And even if we don't see it, this sort of heat wave, we don't see that 40-degree point, it is still a lesson to us that 40 degrees is very much on the cards for the British Isles, and it just shows you one of these days, one of these years, if not this next sort of 10 days, it's going to come off and we are going to see that 40-degree point, and it will be historic, will be memorable, it will be very, very hot. So we'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you do stay safe. Remember, there is that alert level 3 out for the heat course. If you want to have a look at that in more detail, look at yesterday's video where I went through that. It's looking impressively hot. Regardless of how hot it gets, it's going to be hot enough for danger to life for especially elderly and the vulnerable. So make sure you do look out for others, stay hydrated, get your sun cream on, and stay out of the peak sun during around 11 to 3 p.m, or at least take shade, as it is going to be pretty hot and dangerous out there. But other than that, make sure you go out and enjoy it. Of course, everyone loves a bit of warmth, bit of sunshine, but do stay safe out there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.